Hi, I'm Eric with Scaling Up Guide, and this is my Retail Alliance Member Spotlight video. Well, I think it kind of goes back to when my daughter was in college, and she called me up one day and said, "Dad, I'm going to start a business." She was a senior in college, and I said, "Okay, so what kind of business?" And she said, "Well, I don't know." And I said, "Well, why do you want to start a business?" And she said, "Well, somebody came and talked to our class, and he said we should start one now because we don't have anything to lose." And, well, that's no reason to start a business. So that got me starting to think, there's people out there giving bad advice. And that was the first time I ever thought about being a coach. So there's nothing like actually going through it yourself to understand what it takes. I've had those sleepless nights wondering how I was going to make payroll. There was one week in particular where I was tapped out. I tapped out my line of credit, my credit cards. I had no money in the bank. So I get it. I've been there. I felt that stress. Fortunately, in my case, we had some money come in. I was able to make payroll, but I know what it feels like. And so I can use that experience whenever I ask somebody to make an investment, either in myself or with another resource or tool they might need. I understand what I'm asking for. Every expense you have needs to be an investment that's going to either add to your top line or bottom line. Well, that was Confetti Cafe. You might remember that in Virginia Beach Town Center. And so I would say the biggest lesson for that one was really two things. One was, don't follow your passion. Find something that you can be passionate about. But at the time, I loved ice cream. I ate a lot of ice cream every day. And so I was passionate about ice cream, but so I ended up doing what everybody should do, is go buy an ice cream franchise. But I learned along the way that was kind of a mistake. The other biggest lesson I learned is what everybody always says, but you don't really understand it until you've been through it yourself, is location, location, location. I know everybody's heard that, but I found that to really be true. In our case, I chose a location that should have been great, but they were supposed to be building a new tower next to us, but that never happened. So we ended up on the outskirts of town center, where the foot traffic just wasn't as good as I expected, especially during the weekdays. And when I scoped out the space before I agreed to the lease, I went on a Friday night, Saturday night, which looked great. And my mistake was I didn't go look at it during the middle of the week. So that's a lesson learned. So like everybody else, we were going to the office one day, and the next day we were working from home on Zoom calls. And so on that very first Zoom call, I asked my team, so how do we add value now? And to be clear, these were their ideas. They came up with the ideas. They built the tools. My role was to help guide the conversation, help them with that thought process, and then share that with the other sales leaders around the company and roll that out. And then just a few weeks later, our salespeople, 150 salespeople, they started breaking new sales records. And this was right when COVID had hit. So that was my biggest win as a coach, so to speak. Actually, I just love seeing people get rewarded and growing when they put in the effort. When they work hard, they reach a goal. I like the feeling of seeing them with their win. As a bonus on top of that, if I had some small role to play in that, that's an added bonus. Probably the best example that it just kind of gives me shivers. I kind of feel a little bit right now just thinking about it. Was when I had my wireless company, and we grew from 1 store to 11 stores in about 3 years. And I'd hired my right-hand man right when I still had the one store, and told him what I had planned to do. And he worked as hard, probably harder than I did, during those 3 years. And so when we won a President's Club Travel Award from Nextel, if you remember, they got bought by Sprint. They gave us a travel award, and it was to Cabo San Lucas. And I gave that trip to my right-hand man. And so that meant more to me when he came back and shared his pictures and stories about that trip. That was a trip that he probably would have never been able to take on his own. That meant more to me than everything else we had done along the way. Okay, so if you want to reach out and talk to me about any of that, see how we might be able to work together, you can reach me at Eric at scalingupguide.com, or just visit the website scalingupguide.com.